We are cadets Johnson and Colin from Nelson County Air Force Junior ROTC.
Today, November 20th, 2017, we are entering retired Marine Staff Sergeant Michael Dunn.
Sergeant Dunn is an 11-year retired veteran serving in the United States Marine Corps from March 13th, 2006 to July 30th, 2017.
Sergeant Dunn was a Field Artillery Operations Chief and also a Marine Corps recruit. What were you doing before you entered the Marines?
Before I joined the Marine Corps, I attended college at the University of Cincinnati for a year. Then decided that wasn't for me at the time. So then I started working full-time for a moving company up in Cincinnati called Brenda Moore Mayflower, moving furniture full-time. I think that was the last thing I did before I joined the Marine Corps.
What did you do in college?
I was studying business at the time. So I was going for a business degree, but it wasn't where my heart was at. I knew I was being called to do something else. It just took me a while to figure out what that was.
So how old were you whenever you did start thinking about going into the Marine?
When I started thinking about it, I was probably 16. One of the big reasons that pushed me to join the Marine Corps was my neighbor, guy that I grew up with, played football with, wrestled with his younger brother. Me and his younger brother were really good friends. He was in the Army, and I think it was April 2004, he went missing in action in Iraq. And that was probably, one of the big things that really got me thinking about this path. And it just took me a while to finally get the ball rolling and make it happen.
How did you adapt to the military life, including physical regimen, barracks, food, and social life?
It took a while, I can tell you that much. Life in the military in general, and especially the Marine Corps, is completely different than anything you're going to experience in civilian life because everything is so regimented and structured. There is no, or very little room for error in everything that you do, so you have to be on your A game at all times, and that is something that it took a while to adapt to, both mentally and physically.
Can you explain what you did as a Field Artillery Operations Chief?
As an operations chief, it was my job to serve as the subject matter expert for all things field artillery for a firing battery, which usually consists of approximately 150 Marines. And then there are also some collateral duties that come along with that. Security chief is sometimes one, but then also making sure that every Marine in the battery is trained, annual training requirements, just to make sure that we're ready to go if anything ever hits the fan and we need to go do what we all signed up to do.
Can you explain what you did as a Marine Corps recruiter?
Yeah, I was actually a recruiter here in this area for 3 years, from 2011 to 2014. I started out in Louisville. I had Seneca, Fern Creek, J-Town, Atherton, a couple other schools. I did really well in my first year there. The recruiting position here became vacant because the recruiter that was here before me didn't do a very good job. They moved me down here, and then I was here in Nelson County, Spencer County, Marion County, Washington County, and Taylor County for the next 2 years.
So during Operation Iraqi Freedom, what duties or orders?
So I'm an artilleryman by trade. That has always been my primary military occupational specialty. But when we deployed to Iraq, we went as provisional infantry and civil affairs. So I was in Iraq for nearly a year and we didn't shoot one round of artillery. We were doing other stuff, provisional infantry, patrolling the streets, convoying through our area of operations every day, just trying to make sure that things were going on that were supposed to be going on and we were keeping the bad guys off the streets.
So what places, do you remember?
Yeah, my
that you went?
primary area of operations was the Haditha Triad. So we had the Haditha Dam, the city of Haditha, Hakonia, Marwana, Abu Hayat. And we were stationed in Haditha for a few months, and then they closed that base down and transferred it over to the Iraqi police and the Iraqi army and moved us to a cop in Rawa, which was probably close to a 3-hour convoy away. But even when we were in Rawa, we were still responsible for Haditha, so we had to make that convoy every day all the way to Haditha, do what we needed to do there, and then get back.
So during Operation Inherent Resolve, what duties and orders were you given?
Operation Inherent Resolve was a little bit different. I was part of the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit, so I was on a Navy vessel. It was the USS Essex. We floated around the world, ended up off the coast of Iran, spent some time in Kuwait doing some training because we were supposed to be sent to the Al-Anbar province to provide support for, I guess, the forces that were opposing ISIS in Iraq and Syria. That didn't happen. We went to Kuwait, did our training, came back to the boat, and then the Harrier pilots that were on the boat with us were running missions regularly, executing, I guess, missions against high-value targets in Iraq and Syria.
Can you explain how serving in combat operations in the military impacted you?
I think it changed who I am, but in a good way. It makes you appreciate everything so much more, like the freedom that you have here in the States. Things that you don't even think about. It really gives you an appreciation for all of it. Running water, hot food. What else? Being able to brush your teeth without using a water bottle, being able to shave without using a water bottle, cold water. We would get pallets of water delivered to us, and they would just drop them in the middle of Iraq. You're drinking water that's been sitting in the sun all day, so it's 120, 130 degrees regularly. So the water's the same temperature. Hot shower, camaraderie, people, family, friends. It makes you appreciate everything a lot more than you do. It makes you realize how much you really take for granted being here, where we have it better than anybody else around the world.
Okay. Do you remember some people that you worked with while you were there alongside that you might want to share with you along the way?
The first one that comes to mind is my neighbor, who I said was missing in Iraq. April 2004, he went missing in Iraq outside of Baghdad, and they found his body buried outside of Baghdad in April 2008. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind, because like I said, that was one of the main reasons that pushed me to do what I chose to do, because I wanted to feel like I was doing my part to bring him home to his family. Another one is one of the first guys I met when I first got to the Fleet Marine Force after I did all my initial training. He was a sergeant at the time. I think that's what he was when he ended up passing away also. His name was Christopher Herbeck. I wasn't on the deployment that he was on when he passed away, but he was trying to save somebody else's life. Ended up stepping on an IED. So those are the two that really stick out. There's more, but those are the two that really stick out just because they had an impact on me.
What was the best part about serving in the military that you did?
I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my time in the Marine Corps. I wouldn't be the man I am today, the husband I am today, the father I am today, if it wasn't for the Marine Corps molding me into who I've become.
Do you think you would have ever changed anything different?
No. If you asked me to do it, even after having been through everything I've been through, if you asked me to do it 100 times again, I would do it every single time.
What are some lessons or things that you learned about being in the military?
I think there's a number of life lessons that I learned throughout my time in the Marine Corps, but one of the things that I think is going to continue to make me successful in, this job and whatever else I decide to do in life is that there is no substitute for hard work and dedication. I think it doesn't matter where you go or what you do, as long as you're willing to work hard, put in the time, and put in the effort, then success will follow.
What would you tell anybody entering the military today?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I mean, when I was on recruiting duty, I had the opportunity to speak to people regularly who were joining the Marine Corps or joining the military because I was responsible for putting a large number of them in. And I think one thing that I always wanted to make sure that they were aware of was that the first year, at least the first year you're in the Marine Corps, is not going to be fun. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be rainbows and butterflies because you've got boot camp, you've got combat training or the infantry, school of infantry, then you've got your MOS training, and then you're going to be a brand new person working at the fleet, so you're starting at the bottom of the totem pole. So the first year is going to be rough. You're going to grow a lot. You're going to learn a lot, but don't let it overwhelm you in that first year. As long as you, like I said, are willing to work hard and put in the time and put in the effort,